Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Roxy Files. This is Roxy with my co host Shannon. We are
Hey.
here tonight to chit chat and catch up with everybody and see what's going on. I see there's quite a few of you already here tonight. You guys are on it. Let's see. Let's look at the comments right quick, Shannon. Let's see. Scott says he's on Santa's naughty list. How is the weather on the West Coast, Shannon?
It is kind of warm today, not going to lie, but we have a touch of fall, like a touch of it. When then it goes into kind of a winter and it'll hit hard for a couple weeks and then it's back to good old sunny Southern California.
We're in hoodie weather right now over here on the East Coast in South Carolina. We're on hoodie weather, but it was really beautiful today, and there's a full moon out tonight. That sapsucker is bright, and it is huge out there. Just in
Yep.
case. Um, Welcome everybody. This evening we are going to talk about Hey Timber Traveler. Hey Cash, I see you over there, Cash. Say no to bootlicking. I don't know. I think we might have some bots in here tonight. We might have to just kick on out.
Cool.
I haven't seen. I got to make sure that the guys are moderators on our channels and check yours too, Shannon. But
Mm-hmm.
tonight we are talking about, are you on a list? We feel sure we are. This has a lot to do with the gifted and talented education program. In different areas of the country, it was given different names, but we've talked about it before that we're pretty sure that this is why maybe all of us are going to Mall World. Is anybody out there, Cash, have you had any Mall World dreams lately? Hey, Super Dave.
I have an interesting add on to the mall world phenomenon. Many years ago, there was this whole thing about, have you seen this man in your dreams?
Mm-hmm.
And this man looks exactly like Gordy Rose, by the way, who is the founder of D Wave. And it's been a phenomenon for years where there was a website, there were flyers all over the place. And it kind of, it's interesting to me because this phenomenon started happening right around 2008, 2009,
Mm-hmm.
when the Obama phones came out and all of that stuff, and more people had access to free phones. And I wonder if these devices that we carry around with us all the time have a connection to this mall world, and maybe certain people or factions messing with you in that realm who are specific. If anyone has dreamt of this man in mall world, it'd be interesting to know. Um, if you guys haven't heard of it, check it out. It's but I feel like they're interconnected, and I do feel like maybe these phones or devices, computers, all of it have some kind of way of enhancing it or bringing us back into this realm a lot more. And if D Wave has something to do with it, this quantum computer thing.
Hmm. See, now, Shannon, you just sent me down a whole new rabbit hole. Thanks. That's what my tomorrow will be spent on.
I had a feeling there is this content creator that you would absolutely adore, that so many things that we talk about, she's just right on point with that and is very thorough. I just, one of these days, I'll have to, let me at least find, I think it's Extreme Reality Check. That's her channel, Extreme Reality Check. She had been banned for a long, long time and is one of those who has popped up again. So,
You'll have to send her over to me. I can
mhm.
tomorrow. I just got to get in gear. I got lots going on in the next few weeks.
That's right.
But
Because you got good news
I did. I got good
today.
news today. But the whole gateway thing. The more I look into the mall world, the majority of the people who have that phenomenon are gate kids.
Mm-hmm.
And there's quite a few of us that know we went, but we really don't remember going. We know we did weird things, but you're not 100% sure what any of them were. It's just kind of strange that there are so many of us that have the same experience in the same programs. It's just so it when I think about it, who knows what they might have programmed us to do back then. I mean, if they were programming us to go to mall world, what's hidden in there? And if there's something hidden in there or embedded in there, or do they know where all of us are at all times? You know what I mean? That becomes
Mm-hmm.
a one of those questions that I found myself thinking about the other day because the world has become so digital anymore that everything and everybody is trackable. I mean, the cell phone in your hand is registered to you with your email with your birth date. So as long as you got that thing anywhere near you, they know exactly where you are.
I would even, excuse me, I would even suggest that the all of us kids who were part of these programs, we were the construct of building the D wave or these kinds of things that bring these devices involved, which also goes into the whole, uploading your consciousness into the cloud kind of aspect. It's like
Uh-huh.
they're all interconnected, and us as children, we weren't just used as experiments on, for our abilities. We were used as a model, as a way to build and construct this matrix and this way of connection, and these devices and all these things is just another way of interconnecting all of that and all of us kids who were part of that program to help create this world, this thing.
Well, my mind, and I know I repeat this all the time, my mind was opened so much by listening to the telepathy tapes. It made me realize that, I don't doubt what these kids can do, anything at all. 100%, I believe them. They have absolutely nothing to gain from sharing this with us except sharing their ability to do the things they do. They have, I mean, listen to them, you'll understand. But once I understood what these kids were doing and what capabilities could be, if these capabilities have been turned down in all of us over time, and now it can be manipulated by man. So we've got to open our minds up to what the possibilities of being a human is or could be if it's used correctly and not dampened by things, in the clear stuff that comes out of the faucet. And, it's a lot to think about sometimes.
Well, it's like children, especially, we've all been given these god-given abilities where, as children, we're connected to source, we're more pure and innocent, and we can tap into God and the Holy Spirit on a level that adults, over time lose because of all the trauma and things that we go through in life. And if they've always known this, they've always experimented with children and for a very long time. But I do feel these programs that we were in specifically were a way of constructing this realm, and this is one of the reasons we're being called back to it. And these devices, and the fact that if you marry together this whole, like, have you seen this man slash Gordy Rose in your dreams, and you realize that the Mandela effect, I mean, Gordy Rose talks about how the quantum computer is basically like the Mandela effect is a ripoff of the D-Wave quantum computer and its capabilities. But what if we were all part of shaping that? You know what I mean? Like in as in the
Oh yeah.
upside down and all of that. And part of all of this is, and these these 5G and 6G things and all that stuff continuously, like these towers are popping up everywhere. We're getting more and more smart devices. All of these things, they are they're putting us back in that mode. Recently there was a video that I had come across that I shared with you guys, um, about how this lady could see on her cell phone when she had the Oculus device on.
Mhm.
She could see this light flickering in patterns constantly, even when it was just on, lock mode or home screen mode, or, certain social media things and different aspects like that. It's constantly going. And she was actually able to record it, video record it. So I bet we could probably see it if we recorded it. But it
Have
made
you
me
seen the
think
ones
of,
where they show you what your cell phone does constantly all the time when it's
yeah,
in your hand?
exactly. So, it's like I decided to get those little stickers to put over the whole thing
Mhm.
on all of my devices. And I tell you, I don't know if it's a placebo effect, but I feel more at peace. When I'm on these devices, I don't feel the
Well,
urge for, self loathing and deprecation by watching just tragic things all the time, and, just things along those lines.
and I've tried to really get into a habit of like, if I'm not using my phone, to put it face down and away from me. Just,
Hmm.
go over there. I don't need you in my hand or laying on the arm of the chair looking at me the whole time. But yeah, I was looking at some of the viewer comments out there. But they're very good at the programming aspect of this, and we know that that word is used in reference to so many things. So then I don't know, a lot of it makes me wonder, now that you get over the fact that no, I really don't remember what I did in that class most of the time. So what was I doing? And I've seen a few people with some notebooks online, and they had like worksheets of, all kind of crazy equations and code breaking, and just, I don't know, we're on a list. I mean, they're watching us. They done all that for a reason.
Right, I feel like I see, I remember asking you this. How would we go about finding out? How would we look into it? Because I know we know we're on these lists, but I'm so super curious because I know there's the whole gang stalking aspect of things. There's all of these things to where if you weren't on a list that was accessible to said ABC governmental things, then how do you go about to find that information? Because I want to know.
Shannon, that's probably not information they're going to give us. Just saying. I mean, they're not going
Well,
to
I
tell us what
know
list
that.
they've got us on.
I know that, but I know we have sleuths out there. I'm just saying, our website, you could send us messages, just,
Ah, so
yeah,
you're reaching for
I'm reaching.
recommendations from
Hmm.
this fantabulous audience we
That's
have.
that's correct there.
Ah, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. She's Yeah, okay.
Mhm,
Yeah, it
mhm.
would be nice to know if there's a way to know on which ones you are, but I mean, there's some crazy anomalies that seem to be tracking a great deal since everybody seems to be the ones that are awakened. And if you happen to have somebody in your world who is still just, if you are, you know, if you weren't, you wouldn't be here because you just wouldn't. There, you can't, okay, regular people, it's kind of hard to talk to them anymore. There's so much that it's like your mind has just opened up and you started seeing all these things and understanding things for what they are. And these people that just want to talk about, yesterday's drama or high school years just seem really irrelevant anymore. I don't know. Do you find that, Shannon?
Okay, I'm gonna throw something out there. That's kind of wild. It's a little wild, but it deserves some thought. There's the whole okay NPC rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hear me out. Okay,
Oh no, girl, go.
okay. So we're aware, right? I know we all are that in Germany and with the Nazis and whatnot, the experiments they were doing, there were very, like a tall list of them, but one of the main ones was twinning. And they called it twinning. And there's a whole aspect of twinning programming within the monarch and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe it was not so much twinning as much it was cloning, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and I'm going to tie this into even Star Wars here in a second. just hear
Get
me
it,
out.
girl.
Okay. So since the 30s and 40s, they've been doing these quote unquote twinning programs and experiments. We've had more and more and more people that have shown up in our world that don't really seem to have a driving
Personality?
person in there. You know, we all have a soul, but if it's a clone, does it have a soul or is it driven by another force, if you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we keep hearing this whole reference to NPCs, even in the dream world, right? In mall world, this realm. And people who play video games are really obsessed over this whole NPC thing. And oh my gosh, right? There are these whole other factions of people who go on TikTok or Twitch or whatever and pretend to be NPCs and get ridiculous amount of money for this, which is absolutely insane. But now that we interact with AI on these video games and things more, we're starting to realize that these people around us that we felt weren't quite right are
Mm-hmm.
more along the lines of these NPCs. But as I bring it into the whole twinning programming and what I would say clone wars, this is where the Star Wars comes in, okay? Because we know the Clone Wars Star Wars episode, right? They built an
Yeah.
army of clones so they could do all this stuff. Think about that. And then you add in the whole factor that people are starting to understand that this exists and people out there aren't what they seem. And now they're bringing in this whole thing where, oh, there are some people out there who have alien DNA. Wait, what? So maybe we're talking this program since the 30s that we were brought in, and these other programs stemmed from programs from the 30s and 40s that started in the 50s. How do we know that we haven't had parts in experimentations and all of that, and the programming with the twinning, and it's like they're all interconnected, but this NPC thing is just kind of exploded all over the place and people noticing, and I just kind of wanted to bring in where it stems from and how long we've had this cloning technology.
Well, there was this, we've talked about this place over there. There was this little man with a mustache, and we were in a war with him some years ago. Because we had to be very careful what we say. If you've never listened to us before, we try to be very careful with words we use. Some of those words will get you violated and taken down quickly.
I hope I didn't violate anything.
If we did, we all good, girl. It's all good in the hood. We good. Um, but anyway, the little man with the mustache in that war, one of those, one of his favorite things to do was experiment, and he was trying to figure out how to get a soldier that would march for days and days and days and require very little food and would have no attitude and would just go fight, fight, fight. Well, he had to come up with a drug that his, um, I guess you would say, military people would dose themselves with every day. And it was called methamphetamines. It was basically the what you get today in Ritalin or any ADHD medicine there is out there, but it was meth. And we're currently suffering from an epidemic of that in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Every time, think about it, every time we have an epidemic of something in our country, there was something that was given to you 10 years ago when you went to see somebody because you had an unruly child, or they were acting up at school, or they didn't fit in. Well, here, let's give them this. Let's give them this. It'll calm them down, zone them out. I have a 30-year-old, and he was on it as a child. I gave it to my child. I didn't know what else to do with him. I was at my breaking point. Um, and he tells me now that he didn't understand how to tell me back then. Now every kid is different, but he said he would rather not be here than take that anymore because he said it is the most zombied cardboard feeling. He said and he still has to this day. He doesn't. I don't know. Emotions just aren't his thing. But he said when he took it, he said I just felt like cardboard, mom. He said I was just here. He said nothing was good, nothing was bad. I was just here. He said, but I was behaving. And it breaks my heart to know that my child, I don't know that that's how he felt. But anyway, that epidemic of giving that to children started, 15 years ago. And now that that was given to him is now in the street form, and we have meth America going on. Well, if you look at the 10 or 15 years ago, they started handing out all of that stuff. When you had an acre of pain, it was way too strong for your ankle was hurting. And you had that epidemic, just here some years ago, and they about got it back under control. One leads to the other, is what I'm saying. This stuff started back in the 20s and 30s when they were trying to figure out how to make a super soldier. And all of these twinnings and the dosing soldiers and his science experiments, all of it was about making a super soldier in a super race.
It's interesting too, right? Because the eugenics program is really what the little man with the mustache had gotten his inspiration on.
Mm-hmm.
And that I have a copy of the eugenics textbook from my great grandfather who had received that textbook in Bible college, right?
Mm.
There is a whole section in there about sleep and a certain sleep state. And it's very interesting. I'll have to bust that out the next episode and read some excerpts from it. But that book, the eugenics program, the whole entire thing, too. I mean, again, it was illegal to be unattractive or below a certain IQ. It was, and you were put away into an institution and forcefully sterilized. There
Mm,
were a lot of things that they were already testing and experimenting on with these people in these institutions. And these are the things that inspired the little man with the mustache. And, there are other characters, I'd like to call them, throughout history that have been even worse than the little man with the mustache, who have gotten away from, war crimes and things for exchange of information because they were experimenting on prisoners and things along those lines. So there's, Project Paperclip was a big thing that we all know was part of the space program that we're aware of, but it has a lot more to do with the experimentation on things like we got fluoride from World War II.
mhm.
We got a lot of things. And when I was in no preschool, which I believe is when they started the program on me specifically, not even just elementary school and actual preschool. There was a girl named Shannon who also had blonde hair and blue eyes. And we were paired together the very first day I ever went to preschool. And we somehow were allowed to put makeup on each other, and we did it just like each other. It was already the start of this twinning program. And I remember my mom picking me up being really upset that I had makeup all over me and, just the whole 9 yards. But we were being told to, mirror each other and do the mirror game. And this is in preschool with another girl named Shannon with blonde hair and blue eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things start very young, and that whole twinning program and the cloning stuff, this all has to do with what what we had going on as well in the gate program. There's so much more to it that I'd love to see more people explore as they're understanding how a lot of these programs worked, in like Project Monarch and things along those lines, because there are aspects to it that will really help to open up the conversation of what all had been done with us as children and what the end game was, which I still believe has to do with Russ Disdar's um, investigative work on the Black Awakening.
Well, there is all kind of. We got to bust your eugenics book out and look at what kinds of experiments they were doing. Because if you go and look at us as a country and what advancements were made directly after World War II, the leaps that we took, those were leaps that come from people through that Operation Paperclip.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go look at everything that spirals out of control after that point with programs and what they're doing, like, I've looked at one which is kind of a connection off this gifted and talented on a military base where they were getting people to stare at goats to see if they could hypnotize the goat. There was one guy that could kill the goat by staring at it. And I mean, you got things where they're over in foreign countries astral projecting in these three-letter documents from their Freedom of
Mm-hmm.
Information Act, and they're looking at hostages in the embassy around the world. And 3 days later, when they come back, it's exactly what he said. Who was wounded? Who didn't look well? This was back with the Iran stuff with Reagan, and yeah, there is a lot. Our mind can do so much more than we have any idea. Like all of these movies around us have been soft disclosure our whole life. And we didn't even know what we were looking at.
Soft
Uh,
disclosure and programming. you would be
Absolutely.
you would be floored in how much the government has a hand in financing and controlling the entertainment industry. Do you ever wonder how it is that these, movie makers, just as an example, can get a budget of $20 billion? $20 billion for
Mm-hmm.
a movie, you guys. And first off, there's people seem to think there's some kind of never ending pot of gold in Hollywood, but there is a serious struggle. A serious struggle out there. Okay, they're not getting this money from just some normal rich people or the revenues that they're getting from the movies that they put out. They're getting this money from other factions. I mean, there was even that music studio that was created from a shut down base in
Yeah.
Hollywood that has connections to the father of Jim Morrison. And the man who owns it now is Jared Leto, who happens to have an actual like cult. He even calls a cult. Like he is not even hiding it.
Really.
Yes, girl.
Really. I did not know that about a whole
Oh
Joker.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's a whole nother
No, the
interesting
whole
rabbit hole.
look, whole nother rabbit hole. I hope somebody's taking
Yeah.
notes because we're gonna need it in a community post of the rabbit hole Shannon has dug up
So,
tonight.
like, look, even Disneyland, Disney got his funding from the Navy because that's where the psychological warfare department lies. Like, this stuff is not funded by your average Joes. It is funded by military factions and
Well,
corporations
just
that
just so
belong into the
everybody
military.
knows, there was a movie that was put out by that company with the little rat with ears. And it was monsters, and it's a documentary. It's not a child's movie. Just saying. We're just gonna tell you it's a documentary all day long.
Mhm.
Not a child's movie. Um, yeah, all these programs are connected to all of this. It is all interconnected of them being able to twist and control and manipulate.
I mean, how many of us grew up on that rat with ears? Do any of you remember how he made cheese? How he made Swiss cheese?
Oh
Which
yes,
which
yes.
cheese is also a code word. I know y'all probably know that
Mm-hmm.
one. But we all grew up on that. As a matter of fact, in the late 80s and early 90s, I used to watch that channel like incessantly, like all kids did. And there was a reel that they would play before each show or during commercials in between the shows that played that clip in like a montage of other clips. And all those years didn't have a clue till it was an adult and rewatched it as it was pointed out, like, hey, check out how he's making the Swiss cheese. And then check out Minnie in the background and how excited she is. It was a whole new world there, and it was quite
Um.
disturbing.
Well, she in real life, because it was supposed to be based off of a person, which would be his sister.
Oh,
That in
that's
itself is a little
that
just
in itself.
creepy. Yeah,
Yep, there
that's
you
that's
go.
just creepy.
Yeah.
Willie and I were having a conversation the other night because Willie and I spend about as much time down rabbit holes as you and I do, Shannon. It's like we'll be up till 2 o'clock in the morning down a rabbit hole or talking about politics. That's all we do is talk. talking sand tractors. But we were talking about the fact of like our parents, our grandparents, their parents. At what age were they having children? My great grandmother had her first child of like 7 at 12 years old. Willie's great grandmother had her first child at like 12, 13 years old. So you think about the fact that back then it was perfectly acceptable to marry a 12-year-old girl and have children with her and be a grown man that owned a farm or a business. That's not normal. I think as we've just gotten older, we realized how not okay that is.
Yep. And again, this kind of stuff stems back, for quite some time. But there are actual religious writings out there that say it's okay to marry 3-year-olds and things along those lines. So, you know,
I personally don't think you should be able to vote till you're 30. I just don't. I don't know many 25-year-olds I want voting. I don't think I would have wanted my 25-year-old self to vote, to have a vote. Cuz you don't even know what life is about at 25. How can you make a vote on what is supposed to steer our nation? I don't even get that. Yeah, I don't think anybody should get married or vote or have children before you're a minimum of 25 years old.
the sad thing is, right, is there's so many places around in the world who still condone this thing. It's a very
Mhm.
rampant type of a
There are
situation.
a couple of religions where it is actually okay if she is 6 years old.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. 3 is what I've read in certain religious books that are of the evil side, if you ask me.
Mhm.
The same one that says it there's at least 13 other genders and all that kind of thing,
Mhm.
which I'm still trying to figure out where they got that number.
It probably includes cat, dog, squirrel, and rabbit.
I guess possibly. Well, that was
I
one rabbit hole I didn't go down yet. I just
Oh goodness, Shannon. Somebody's taking notes, right? Here comes the giggles. Yeah, I mean they're just I was reading the other day on um my I have a big huge spreadsheet with all of this stuff on it the way I research. But I come across this stuff and it was talking about the ice place up there. We're not gonna say that word out loud just in case, but ice. That there were ionospheric controls that they have figured out how to manipulate that and that they can basically use that to target just about anybody or anything. And it was just kind of crazy. And it's all based off of frequency. And I know on Daniel's thing, it shows it and lays it out that every time there's been a frequency change, like when we had broadcast radio, you get a pandemic. We went from 4G to 5G, you got a pandemic. And back when they were first putting in some of the cell phone, you had a pandemic, you had bird flu or something. It just, they know what they're doing. And we're just beginning to catch up with figure out what they're doing because they've had us all so snowed over with the lies.
I can personally attest to being attacked by these frequencies, targeted frequencies, on many occasions, and have had witnesses. They exist, they're real, 100%. And they're now so much more widespread, which again kind of brings back to the whole phone light that you can't see with your naked eye.
Mm-hmm.
So, those of you who do have your devices in front of your face quite often, you might want to take precautions for that, and they're very inexpensive. These little stickers, super cheap to save your brain from some extra nonsense. These fluorescent lights, the energy saving ones are pretty awful too, and there's some things to be said about that because that's in everybody's home now. So imagine as you turn on your light on an everyday basis, how many light flickers you are being just bombarded with that you cannot detect with your naked eye. But you film the room that you have in lights in slow motion, you'll be able to see how insane that is.
Where do you buy the stickers, Shannon?
Oh,
Amazon or?
you can get it Amazon. I'm pretty sure any major outlet online will have it. You could probably, I don't like to propagate Walmart or Target, but I'm
Mm-mm.
sure they have them. Staples, Best Buy, any of those types of things should have it. Even maybe Office Depot. Don't quote me on that one
Well, and I agree. It's kids having kids nowadays. But they're not adults yet. They're not. I don't think you should until you are financially stable enough to afford your bills and have at least 30 days in the bank if something goes wrong. You shouldn't be having children because them 30 days is going to narrow down to 2 days right quick.
though.
It don't
Right.
take no time, and there's some emergency with a child or yeah, and at that age when you got kids having kids, they're not responsible enough. I wasn't.
Okay.
I had both my kids by the time I was 21. I don't regret having mine, but because I ended up having I mean, the good Lord, he knew what he was doing and he saw fit. But it would be so much easier if some of them waited.
Here's the thing, right? I was very fortunate to have my kids at 27 and 29. I got really lucky to have it right in between there. Having your kids before 30 it does have its advantages physically, but it was still a struggle. There was still a lot of growing up I needed to do, and I'm still doing. I mean, none of us are ever completely
Adults.
grown up, okay? Let's just be honest, okay? Let's just be real. But there's a good time period to have children that your body is ready for. You're in a good place to uh, raise a children. But it's I know that this is something too that's God's will, and God's will reigns, and you make decisions as you are growing up, and he allows you to make those decisions. But it's always a blessing, and it's always in the right timing. But kids are being taught younger and younger to be sexually aware. This
Hmm.
is the biggest issue that we are facing on a nonstop basis, is that not only are they just getting it in their faces while they're so young and being programmed to accept that, but more and more you're finding that the school systems are allowing access to information that shouldn't even be accessible to adults, if you ask
Exactly.
me. I
Well,
mean,
and every
truly.
kids show there is out there that I catch my granddaughter watching, it's a show with other kids her age, and it's, a little sitcom or whatever. And if there's a bunch of them, like, they got 7 and 8 year olds in there worried about their boyfriend or their girlfriend at school. It may even seem mild in those shows, but I promise you it's not mild in what they put in their mind. They need the innocence and curiosity of childhood, not this garbage that they're showing on that box on the wall. Because I ain't seen a whole lot of good come out of it in a minute.
Mickey and Nick are the worst, but it
Oh no, we
exists
don't have
in
those in
all
our
of
house.
it.
We
It's
not having that.
yeah, but you know, I lost my train of thought. That's okay. You go for it.
Well, these be careful if you got kids or grandkids. Be careful what they're watching. Just ease up behind them and pay attention to the show or the age group and see if it's appropriate. Because I know a lot of that stuff my grandkid was watching. I'm like, nah, we're not having that. We're not doing that around here.
That okay.
Because go ahead.
That is exactly, you just reminded me of it. I so bringing it back to the gate program, I'm curious how many of you guys in elementary school had to read A Brave New World. And this actually ties into this overly sexualization of children. Because in that book, right, there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole chapter about how kindergarteners are encouraged to have relations with each other. This is something that I was made to read in class in elementary school. And that is an old book. Aldous Huxley wrote that. That's been around for a while,
Well,
you
and
know.
I remember as a kid, like, there were certain back then for any of you who are not of Generation X, we had vinyl records. If you've never seen one, they're
Oh
really
yeah.
cool.
Hey, they're making a comeback, girl.
They
My son
are.
has a huge collection. He's obsessed.
We can't get distracted because that just made me think about something at the new place. It's a record player. But anyway, they used to tell us if you played certain songs backwards, it had something. We're like, y'all were so silly. That is crazy. That is not in music.
It's
Bet,
it's
bet it's real. It's in there. They have rituals over the masters before they make copies of it.
real.
Take a guess. Here's a weird fact for the night, everybody. Take a guess who is the supplier for the United States prison systems of their uniforms, the shoes on their feet, the socks, the underwear, the toothbrush, the hairbrush, everything. One man's family's company provides all of that.
Oh, I have a couple of guesses, but I don't know.
Well, you go ahead. Give me a guess, Shannon.
There's two guesses that I have. One is like designer, and the other one is like
Mm-mm.
Walmart guy.
Bob Barker.
No freaking way! You just blew my mind!
Bob Barker, the Barker Company. It is Bob Barker of The Price is Right.
No
our government, state or
way!
federal or whatever it is, county, buy all of their supplies from the Bob Barker Company. They
I
do uniform,
can't.
shoes, everything. Willie told me this story a while back. The local jail here. Oh, we ain't got time for that Adreno conversation, shortcake. We'll have to do that on
Yeah,
another
we
night.
do.
Whoo,
What's
girl,
up,
it
Shannon?
takes 100 children. 100 children for a pint
Oh,
that is
beautiful.
worth $2.2 million. And you got Hollyweirds out there everywhere pumping themselves full of it. So if you've ever been for a minute that thought that vampires weren't real, you are mistaken. That's how
Uh,
we feel on that one.
I
But
have a story for that later.
yeah, Bob Barker. That was the weirdest thing I've learned this week because we found out that basically, from what I gather, he will lease the land and build the prison and do all the supplies for the government.
Now
Hey,
we
Diana,
know. Now we know where all those prizes came from, guys.
ain't it?
Oh
Well,
my
and see, and
god.
this come about the time that I realized, all right, all this standardized testing. We're talking about GATE, the gifted program, and you think about all the standardized testing that they do in school, They, by the standardized testing in the state of Alabama of third graders, is what they estimate the future local and state prison population off of the reading scores of the third graders. So, like 18 years from now, the ones that can't read, them's the ones that's going to be in jail. That is a literal metric on how they estimate future prison population. I know it is in Alabama. I don't know how many other states use that, but they buy all their stuff in Bob Barker. All that orange, and black and white's all Bob Barker.
I am just that that was the one game show aside from um the Carmen San Diego one as a kid. All I wanted to do was be on the dang Price is Right.
Oh goodness,
I'll
you were.
never look at it the same. Never.
He is not who you think he was.
Ah,
New rabbit hole, guys. Go check that one
ah.
out. Go figure out who that dude was.
I
Because,
mean, I know about all the allegations of awful things that he was like, on set with other ladies, but
mm-hmm.
I just, what? Of course, he's tied into something so evil. Why would I doubt
Well, and
this?
this what triggered that was the music industry, and we talk about how they put all this in the music, one thing and another. Well, the music industry owns the prison corporation. They are the ones that are pushing this gangster violence. It looks cool to look like a drug addict kind of music on our kids, and they're the ones, and they push it harder because they want our kids to screw up and end up in there because the government pays them per person per day. The government pays the public school system per child in attendance per day. That's
See,
why you have attendance regulations.
mhm,
It's not for their education, it's so that they get the correct amount of funding to stay afloat.
exactly.
It has
And
nothing to do with the lies they're teaching our children. Man, I got
too,
on that soapbox fast, didn't
that's
I?
okay. Because that Tupac is in Valhalla because of exactly that. He
Yep.
spoke out against that and said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
propagate gang violence amongst my people. And now he's in Valhalla.
Mm-hmm. And he's still singing, by the way. You can find him on TikTok. Um, I think there's quite a few people in Valhalla. I've seen a lot of things come out lately that we're going to figure out that there's a lot of people that are in Valhalla
Mhm.
because they were going to speak out or whatever and they had to get out.
Yeah.
Um, pull the children from the system. Well, if you think about the public school system and you've ever seen a prison movie, they all eat off of the same trays. They all walk down the same kind of hallway. It's just the little kids, you don't put them behind bars. You shut the wooden door on the classroom and you teach them and you program them. And then when they get out, there's a good majority of them that are just going to be back in the government system one way or another for the people who run the corporations to profit off of the government paying for them committing crimes because they weren't educated properly. So it's just all a vicious cycle. They're not educating our children correctly. I've asked my grandchildren, what's the Declaration of Independence? And they both look at me like they're just stuck. They're like, I don't know. They're more worried about whatever 6-7 is. Do y'all have 6-7 out there, Shannon? Do you have kids
Yes,
everywhere saying
yes,
6-7?
yes, I do. But I don't. It's, I, I don't know. Skylar, my son, mentioned it, and that it's ridiculous. But I don't know if anybody actually knows what it really means.
I don't think anybody really knows what it means. Yeah, I want to homeschool my grandkids. This is part of a master plan that I'm on at the moment to get in a position that they can be out of the system because I homeschooled my little brother from when he was young up until he wanted to go back like his junior senior year of high school so he could do prom and things like that, but he was homeschooled. My brother is probably one of the most mechanical genius people I've ever seen. Super smart. He was so much smarter. most of the men in the previous generations in my family, which we live in a coastal agriculture area, they would go to school till seventh or eighth grade. And if they weren't going out to be a doctor or a lawyer, that was the end of it. They went home and worked on the farm or, started building houses, whatever. They became a man. They had responsibilities at that age. And that's why 12-year-old girls were getting married, because 12-year-old girls then and 12-year-old girls now are a different breed of people. We just are. The generations behind us are not as tough as most of us are. Some of these new generations are walking around in a fog. I'm not even sure the brain's connected between their ears.
Well, they're addicted way more to the technology than we are because they were born into that. And it's just very easily programmed.
Everything coming at you anymore is trying to manipulate you in one way or the other, whether it be something on your phone or music you're listening to on the radio. And it's a sad thing that you've just kind of got to turn the world off a good bit to find peace, because they're trying to constantly put you in a state of fear or panic and chaos. They want to create the chaos and then sell you the cure. Yep, we are Gen X here too, and proud of it. Probably the toughest generation that'll ever be, because we were pre Google, folks. I told my granddaughter, I said,
Thank
"Yep, your
God.
grandma's older than Google." She said, "Oh my gosh." She just looked at me and like somebody said the other day, the 19th century. I'm like, "Hold up, wait a minute, wait a minute. You're going
Yeah,
too far calling it the 1900s. There's a lot of 1900s. There's like 99 of them to be exact."
that's right.
Give me a minute. I
Oh
know,
my
Snowball, you
gosh.
told us to throw out the cell phones. Um, there's a lot of us that we get.
I
I
told my
work.
mother. Yeah, I told my mother the day she is no longer on this earth that I will be throwing my phone off of a cliff and everyone will have my husband's number and I'll get a landline or maybe a shortwave radio. And that's
We have
about all I'm going to do.
we have been looking at some of those radios that kind of work coast to coast. They say.
Yep.
Willie's brother bought a couple of them because they go up and take their ATV up in the mountains and ride, and they got them for that. But we've been thinking about a few of those. Oh, I would love to throw that cell phone down and just be
Mm-hmm.
done with it. Now, if I didn't have a cell phone and a computer, you lovely people wouldn't get to spend a Tuesday evening with Roxy and Shannon and
Yeah.
listen to our banter of all the rabbit holes we find. But yeah, I'd love to be without a phone most days, which most of the time my phone's laying on a counter somewhere. Because in the evening time, I'm out here at the shop with Willie working on tractors, or I spent 6 hours last night with a cricket machine trying to make a sticker. Nearly went crazy. But I did just as far away from a phone as I can get. I've got to the point I don't sit on mine anymore and scroll TikTok and Facebook. I try to make a conscious effort not to do it. I've done it a few times, like sitting at the doctor's office and you're sitting there 45 minutes and it's going off. But other than contact with people, I could go back to the old Nokia and be good to go. Or, like you said, a landline. I'd be tickled pink if the
Landline.
only time you could get a hold of me was when I was standing next to it.
I want to plug in my Scooby Doo phone so bad.
We actually have an old school rotary phone hanging on the wall here. It does not work, but we have it hanging on the wall because that's how we have the shop decorated. It's kind of like, we missed the 1990s really bad. Really bad.
Like rotary phones, like kids look at them today and go, how in the world does it work?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to spin the thing with your finger at what number you want. They're just looking at me like, you're insane, Mom. Like, I'm sorry, that's how it worked.
No, Timber Traveler, you are always welcome here with us. That does not isolate or
Yes.
decide you. Never. We gotta. take a few minutes to speak to everybody we got in the crowd out here. We got a good crowd tonight, guys. Thank you all for coming. I hope we made some sense to you and some of our chitter chatter. But Shannon has given us many rabbit hole ideas to look at tomorrow after I do the 9,000 things I have to do for the weeks coming up. Got family coming in out of town and got to get one house prepped and pack up two others. It's going to be a heck of a 3 weeks. Mm,
Woo!
yes, yes, yes.
Superwoman,
I don't know about all that.
superwoman.
These knees are not the knees of a 20-year-old anymore. I mean, we take them in and we get up. They sound like they popping into four-wheel drive anymore.
Oh man, I really wish I didn't understand, but I do. I do.
I just, I keep saying, oh, I wish I had the energy I did back then. No, I don't think I do because I was completely exhausted back then in my 30s, like working and kids and oh my goodness, I just felt like I was exhausted and never slowed down. It was just chaos.
Every
And
time I think back to any point in my life, going, oh, if I could just, I'm like, yep, no, yep, no. Mm-mm.
yeah, I agree with you, Wild Man. The system of barter and trade is going to come down to what a lot of things are. Um,
I can
yeah,
cut hair.
yep, yeah. I can do all kinds of things. I can cook. I can, bake cakes. I
Yep.
cook a mean chicken bog. Do you know what chicken bog is, Shannon?
I don't, but I want to.
Oh, well, see, this is a southern dish. In Louisiana area, they call it perlo. We call it chicken bog. Perlo's wetter than chicken bog. But you just take smoked sausage and onion and butter and kind of fry it in a pot. And after you get that sausage, kind of like you chop it up, like cartwheel it. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you kind of get that brown glaze in the bottom of the pot, you pour your chicken stock in, scrape that glaze off the pot, and then you cook your chicken in it, and then you put your rice in it. And it's just like meat and rice. But oh, girl, there's some yellow saffron rice out there, and you put some in that. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I have to send you. I think I actually have a video of me cooking it because
Recipes.
I have a family member who is not the best cook in the world, and so I started. And my son, he's like, "Mom," this was a crazy question. My son says, "Mom, what am I gonna do when you die?" I said, "What do you mean? What are you gonna do?" Y'all, my son's 30. He's autistic. He lives with me. He'll be living with his sister. But I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "She can't cook like you cook. How am I gonna cook this?" And I'm like, so I started actually filming videos of me cooking his favorite meals, and he wants to make a whole podcast series out of it called Cooking with My Mama.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Well,
You
there's a
know,
lot of kids out there that don't know how to cook, and it's just literally the camera over the stove, and I'm just kind of talking you through cooking it, and pausing it. And what I want to do is build a library of them for both of my kids and some nieces, and family members.
yeah,
And so forever, if you want one of my recipes, it's on digital format, and you just go to the library and you pull up Mom's chicken bog, and you get to hear Mom's voice, and she'll be with you when you cook the chicken bog. I thought it's a pretty good idea.
yes, it's awesome. So, did you know that there was a good time period that women, when they passed away, they would have one of their, family famous recipes engraved on their gravestone. And there
Mm-hmm.
was this whole, movement of people who would go to all of these graves and write down the recipes and try them out. And I keep telling my husband that, when I pass away, that's aside from some scripture up on there, I want the sauce recipe that's been in the family up there. So no matter what, the kids, if they forget, they're encouraged to come
Come
and
and see
visit
me.
me to get the
I
dang
like it.
recipe.
I like it. Come see me. You can get a recipe. Yeah, I like that one. No, I thought the little digital library of different things that they like for me to cook. And because at one time, see, I got on this boredom thing, and I have a tendency, the way my brain works, when I pick up a hobby, it's like once I conquer it, I'm done.
Right.
and I started watching back when I had cancer and I was stuck on the couch for a long time. I started watching the cake shows, where they make the three
Oh, my
dimensional cakes that look like
obsession.
things. Oh, I got obsessed with that girl. I was thousands of dollars into cake tools, and I started making wedding cakes that it was taking minivans to deliver.
Right.
I mean, it went crazy. I have to send you some of the pictures sometime. And then once I had done like, 15, 20 of them, I'm like, okay, I'm done. New hobby. I'm just done with it.
Right.
So this whole lately, I've been obsessed with the tractor thing with Willie. So we've been doing tractors, but no Cash. He said, "You cook. Will you marry me, honey? I can change the oil in my own truck. I mean, I could probably change the heads out, rebuild the motor if I wanted to. My daddy was a mechanic. I can paint my house. I can do your taxes. I'm an accountant. I mean, I tell you, when I find something I want to do, I learn how to do it, I conquer it, and then I move on. Like I decided I wanted to take some Harvard courses one time on Nikola Tesla and psychology. Bam, did it. I'm done. New hobby. That's the way my brain works. It's like 9 squirrels running at once until they complete the task.
That is what we call a polymath. And I am also just like that.
It's very busy up there between my
Yeah.
ears. I'm telling you, it's very
Hmm.
busy. Sometimes, like, and up until all of the awakening and everything else has been happening, I didn't remember my dreams, and luckily I haven't been to Mall World in a while. But I've had some crazy ones lately, and I've had some people coming to me telling me about like just these crazy, outlandish dreams, but that they were so crazy that it almost felt like it was reality. Like it was kind of crazy. I've had some wild dream stories. Let's see. No, I never stop learning. If you stop learning, you're giving up. There's something new to learn every day. Let's see. No whisper. I was looking at our viewers out there. We got Banshee, Wildman, Water Otter, Mike, and Super Dave are with us tonight. Hey guys, thank you for all your support. Go over and check out Super Dave's channel, Super Dave 44. Um, we're part of the Supernatural Network with them, me, Shannon, and Daniel on the Supernatural Show, and Logic Before Authority. 10 full hat contest is being judged over there this week, so I
Yep,
think
on
Daniel's got.
Friday.
So get over there and check that out. And Daniel will be on tomorrow. What's coming up Thursday night, Shannon? You doing a show Thursday night?
I am. If things work out, if Daniel is up for it, he's going to join us. Um, we're going to partly talk about the natural man law. And I wanted to also do a bit of a continuation with our talk that we had last week. And that's pretty much my plan. I am working on doing a pre-recording here with Roxy at some point on another more controversial subject matter, so be open for that one. And yeah, that's the plan, man.
Alrighty. Well, we got a full week. Daniel tomorrow, Shannon show Thursday night, and Friday the Scooby Gang's all together so we can irritate Daniel with our giggles. We love it. Like you can see it on. We wish we had the cameras back on, especially like before we go on the air, guys, because Daniel's over there trying to set up for the show, and he'll end up like taking his headphones off because me and Shannon can't stop giggling. This is just our manner, isn't that right, Governor?
Yeah, towards the end of that superthon, it didn't take much. It
No,
didn't take much.
no. Shannon and I can be a little silly, but you got to be silly sometimes, guys. You got to smile, positive energy, good vibes. Stay prayed up. Thank you all for coming tonight. We hope we made you laugh. Hope we made you think. Maybe we gave you a couple of rabbit holes to go down because I know Shannon gave me at least 4. Yes, I do, private. Can you message me? Hang on, let me put my email in here before we get off the air.
You know those Enochian, I keep saying that, why? The Ethiopian Bibles came today or
Oh,
yesterday,
did
but
they?
yes, I have
Oh
them.
gosh,
They're here
man. See,
in my
now we got to
hands.
FaceTime because I got to see this thing. We got to FaceTime. You get time tomorrow? Shout at me. We'll FaceTime.
Yeah.
There's my email address. Private. Email me on there. I do remember us having that conversation. It's been a crazy 4 months because it has literally. Um, is that a donation, Timber Traveler? Is that a
Aww.
donation? Thank you. Um, we I don't know. I got struck. That's the first donation. Oh, that's the first donation. Thank you.
That's so sweet.
Um, where was that? Yeah, there was the email address. Email me. We'll get together. We'll see what we can put together because it's kind of been a crazy couple of months because this all started out with me helping Daniel behind the scenes on admin to we got like 4 or 5 head of 6 head now in a team and multiple channels 5 days a week. We went from a
Mm-hmm.
single show I was helping check the emails to bam. So hang in with us. We can always use help because we sure ain't getting no paychecks over here. If you
No.
haven't subscribed, please subscribe to me and Shannon over at Children of the Most High, Super Day
Mm.
44, Logic Before Authority, The Supernatural Show. We welcome you on all of our channels. Um, we're here. We try to communicate as we do this, so this is interactive. This is all of us together. We love you guys. You want to say goodnight, Shannon?
Good night to all. No, I'm just kidding. Good night, guys.
Good night, guys. We'll talk later this week. Have a good evening.